This is your blood pressure, and this is your artery wall. Here's what happens when all of this pressure is applied against your artery wall. That's right. The sheer force of pressure destroys your arteries and washes out holes in your blood vessels. Knocked out pieces of loose plaque can completely block the artery, causing a heart attack, stroke, or even death. And it can happen at any moment. In a movie theater with your spouse, at the park as you're playing with your grandchildren, on vacation, or during a family dinner. Mine happened when I was sitting at the front row at my daughter's Christmas concert. It was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, watching my youngest daughter perform on stage for the very first time. But instead, it turned into a horrible nightmare, with me collapsed on the floor, fighting for my life, with paramedics working frantically, pumping my chest. My daughter was in a panic watching me die right in front of her eyes. But as hopeless as that was, I wasn't going to let her grow up fatherless. And I had to find the strength in me to survive. I'm so thankful for that moment because it led me to discover a rare Egyptian berry hidden in the pyramids of Egypt that finally helped me get my frantic blood pressure under control. And in the next 5 minutes, I'm also going to tell you about how a University of Virginia discovery revealed the real reason the blood pressure is rising and how to get it back in the normal range, which could mean the difference between living a long and happy life, one where you enjoy living every moment in excellent health, or suffering a fatal heart attack and your kids delivering a eulogy at your funeral. Hi, my name is John Miller. It all started about 9 years ago when I went in for a routine physical, and my doctor told me, John, your blood pressure is too high. You're at risk of a heart attack, stroke, or kidney failure. So he whipped out his prescription pad and put me on blood pressure medications, which I later found out had a long list of side effects. He didn't even ask me about my diet. There was no talk about my weight, exercise, or any mention of natural ways to control my blood pressure. The entire visit lasted just about 10 minutes, which was still enough time for him to prescribe over $300 a month worth of pills. The first drug he gave me was a beta blocker, and that supposedly blocks adrenaline so the stress can't raise my blood pressure. Well, I'm not sure if it worked because my BP was still high, and as a result, I was stressed out even more. So he gave me 2 other drugs, a calcium channel blocker and an ACE inhibitor, to make my arteries relax and open wider. The result? Oh, I thought relaxed all right. The problem is, it still didn't do anything for my blood pressure. So what did he do then? He doubled the dose. And when that didn't help, the doctor added 2 more medications, making it 5 in total, bringing my bill up to almost $500 a month. So you'd think with that kind of a drug cocktail, my blood pressure would have dropped to the floor. But no, that wasn't the case, because a few months later, when the nurse measured it, it came to 179/85. I nearly went into a panic. There I was swallowing a handful of pills, feeling sick as a dog, stuck with splitting headaches, dizziness, hacking cough, annoying leg cramps, constipation, and a constant urge to pee. And it was all for nothing. What kind of BS medicine is this? More like a bunch of big pharma drug pushers who want you to suffer just so they can squeeze every single dollar out of you, so that they can line their greedy little pockets while destroying your health, so that they can fly their private jets to Switzerland, all financed by the blood of the innocent. Look, I was beyond furious. But the worst thing is, I was scared. Scared that at any moment I would let my family down, that I'd have a stroke and become a burden to my family, that my daughter would grow up ashamed of me. So what did I do? I went to the doctor, who increased the only one drug that I wasn't already taking a maximum dosage of yet, which brought me even more side effects, all in the name of protecting my health from the silent killer. Hey, maybe you can relate. Millions of Americans are caught in this same exact trap. Their doctors peddle prescription after prescription rather than look for the root cause. And that's when things went from bad to worse. My daughter came home from school one day and told me that the principal had asked her if she'd like to perform on stage. She'd been practicing her trombone for almost 5 years, and she was getting really good. So naturally, she said yes. And when the date finally arrived, we got there early so that we can get a front row seat. But just as the performance started, I suddenly felt like my chest was going to explode. My vision became blurry. Half of my body went numb. And that's the last thing I remember, before waking up to paramedics pounding on my chest with my daughter and everyone else watching. They wheeled me out of there and loaded me into an ambulance. When we arrived at the hospital, it got worse. Seeing doctors and nurses working frantically. My wife and daughter, they wanted to leave the emergency room and go to the waiting area, but the nurse held them back and said, no, you stay. She was so sure that I was going to die, and she just wanted my family to be there. I'll never forget the tears and panic in my daughter's eyes. I can't even imagine how badly this incident scarred her for life. It was the moment I said to myself, I can't go. I still have a job to do. My daughter still needs me. I have to find the strength in me to survive, because passing away on that operating table was the reality that I could not accept. They wheeled me into a cath lab to insert a metal rod inside the artery to open me up, and I began my slow recovery. When I got out of the hospital, I was in a wheelchair, and I knew that my days were numbered if I continued to rely on mainstream advice. I wanted my daughter to be proud of me, not to see her father as a weak man who can't take care of himself and who is at the mercy of others. I was going to do everything I can to get out of this mess, which is why weeks later, as I was recovering, I went on a wild search for answers. Digging into the research of the National Library of Medicine and talking to medical experts, I called in favors and talked to my contacts in the medical industry. And what I discovered absolutely blew my mind. According to the National Institutes of Health, the commonly prescribed blood pressure drugs do not work for 53% of the people who take them. That means you could be spending thousands of dollars on meds that don't even do anything apart from giving you the nasty side effects. And it gets even worse. According to a University of Virginia study, long-term use of blood pressure drugs may cause kidney failure. And in some cases, these drugs end up raising blood pressure, not lowering it like they're supposed to. This has also been proven by the Albert Einstein College of Medicine and the Mayo Clinic. The Journal of the American Medical Association reported that 87% of the so-called medical experts who push these drugs collect fat paychecks from Big Pharma. Shocked and disappointed, I decided to ask myself one simple question. What causes blood pressure to rise in the first place? Turns out, researchers can't even agree. They just knew it causes grave damage to the arteries and other organs, and that it can lead to diabetes, memory loss, heart attack, or stroke. But why is blood pressure rising? And why does this happen to younger and younger people? Hey, my head was spinning. And after weeks and months of research, I was exhausted and I was about ready to give up. But one night I opened my daughter's bedroom door and I saw her soundly asleep in her pink princess bed. She looked angelic and innocent, and I couldn't believe how lucky I was to be her father. That night I prayed to God to give me the answers, and he must have heard me, because that's when things took an unexpected turn. I was grocery shopping one day and I felt an unexpected tap on the shoulder. "Are you John?" the man asked. "Yeah," I muttered, having no idea who he was. "Hi, my name is James, and I'm sorry about what happened to you." It turns out this was the father of one of my daughter's classmates. He saw me have the heart attack that day, and my incident shocked him to the core, and he wanted to help. He told me that he worked as a researcher at one of the local area hospitals, and he said something to me that I will never forget. When it comes to blood pressure, most researchers tend to concentrate on the heart and how narrow the arteries are, but they miss out on the extremely important organ that maintains blood pressure, and it's the kidneys, which is why it took them 60 years to discover that the blood pressure control mechanism is actually hidden inside the tiny kidney cells. University of Virginia researchers found a special sensor called a baroreceptor that measures blood pressure. If it's too high or too low, the kidneys use a special hormone called Renin to talk to the heart, and it tells it how hard to push the blood. Now, if you have a constant high blood pressure, that means that your kidney signaling is broken and they cannot communicate with your heart properly. As a result, the heart thinks that your blood pressure is too low, so it pushes harder than it needs to. The kidneys see that the blood pressure is too high, but they can't tell your heart to slow down. So your blood pressure continues to rise and cause more damage to the kidneys and more disruption to the kidney signaling. Think about a broken telephone where messages get distorted, because that's exactly what's happening. Kidneys are trying to tell your heart not to push so hard, but they can't, because the communication line is broken. Your heart is pushing even harder because it thinks that you need to have more blood pressure. Your heart has no idea that it's already too high. Your kidneys are trying to tell your heart to slow down, but the message is getting lost. As a result, the kidney signaling goes completely out of order. Now, here's an easy 30-second test to determine if your kidney signaling may be disrupted. Do you have an irregular heartbeat or headaches? Do you feel fatigued and have no energy, difficulty breathing, ringing in your ears, inability to sleep, any general discomfort? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then your chances of kidney signaling disruption is high. And if you've ever measured your blood pressure and it was higher than 120/80, then your chances of kidney signaling disruption are even higher. Which is why it is vitally important that you do something now before the problem gets worse and your risk of heart attack shoots through the roof. Which means that you have two options. Option number one, you can forget everything you learned so far and just hope that your high blood pressure will go down on its own, or that it's not going to cause any severe complications, or that somehow miraculously your kidneys will not fail and you'll live a long and healthy life. You probably already know that the chances of that happening are not very high. Blood pressure doesn't improve on its own. You may feel absolutely fine and in perfect health, but behind the scenes, high blood pressure continues to do its dirty work, destroying your arteries, wearing out your heart, which eventually can lead to vision loss, memory problems, and even death. Think about your kids or grandkids. If the worst happens, what would they say at your funeral? That you ignored your high blood pressure until it was too late? Would they wipe away tears and chat amongst each other while you lie there in a box? If you are seeing this, thankfully it's not too late, because there is a second option: reactivating your kidney signaling that can normalize your blood pressure. So if you want to continue to enjoy a long and healthy life, you need to get your kidneys to talk to your heart again. So the million-dollar question is, how? Hey, I had no idea. I kept researching and talking to heart health specialists, but nobody had an answer. I combed through hundreds of scientific studies, but I couldn't find anything. At the same time, I was under pressure to do something before it was too late. And that's when a completely unexpected event changed my life. My wife wanted to go on a vacation to the Caribbean. She thought that the warm weather and sun would give me a much needed break. So we bought the tickets, and soon enough we were on a plane to the sunny Bahamas. The place was an absolute paradise. Walking on the beach with my wife and daughter, looking at the beautiful turquoise waters, I felt so happy. But one thing I didn't know was that I would soon meet a man that would change my entire life. It happened in the evening when I was sitting at the bar sipping on a margarita. A man sitting next to me said I should order a gin and tonic because a long time ago this drink was used as a medicine. When I asked him, how did he know that? He said he worked as a doctor in Germany. His name was Hans, and he was recently divorced. He told me that he was taking a break from stress and trying to start a new life. And when I told him that I was there to recover from a heart attack and start a new life myself, he asked me what happened. So I told my story that I already told you, and he shook his head at how the American Big Pharma basically turned me into a guinea pig for its drugs. He told me that in Germany, doctors treat patients very differently. If a patient has high blood pressure, they try natural supplements first. And since it's a common problem, they have a formula that works very well to stabilize the blood pressure without any of those nasty side effects. So, as we continued chatting over free drinks and playing pool, he promised me that he would look it up and give me the formula. But I didn't ask him which room he was staying in or how to find him. Sadly, I didn't see him the next day or the week afterwards. It's like he disappeared from the face of the earth. And I was kicking myself for not getting his contact information that evening. How could I have been so stupid? So as our vacation was coming to an end, we were packing our bags and heading to the airport. And then suddenly, as we were waiting for the bus, I caught a glimpse of the same German doctor I met that day. Hans, is that you? I asked. Yes, I am, he replied. Turns out he met somebody at the resort. I guess that's a pretty good explanation for his sudden disappearance. And when I asked him for the recipe and his contact information, he handed me his business card and told me to send him an email. I was very thankful to God for giving me yet another chance. Almost immediately, I fired him off an email with my contact information, and once again, I asked him for the formula. On our flight home, I was so hopeful. My blood pressure problems would soon be history. I'll be able to take my daughter to play basketball and soccer in the park. When I got home, there was an email waiting for me in my inbox with the subject line, get this, keep this a secret, please. And when I opened it up, there it was. An odd combination of strange sounding herbs that I hadn't heard of before. Names like conifer and lysuma told me nothing. Naturally, I was very skeptical at first, and I decided to do a little bit of my own research. I went to the National Institutes of Health and started checking each component of the formula to see what they do. The first ingredient I looked at was an herb called albaspine, or what I like to call the crown of Jesus. Because believe it or not, Jesus was crowned with a wreath made from the same herb. And when I checked what albaspine does, I was completely blown away at how powerful it is. According to the Scientific Journal of Clinical and Experimental Pathology, albaspine fortifies the kidneys, preventing further damage and enhancing overall renal function, which means it gives your kidneys a chance to recover. And that's only the first thing it does. Second, it tells the tiny muscles around your arteries to relax and allow more blood to pass. Third, it also relaxes the heart so it's not pushing so hard. And if all of that wasn't enough, albaspine also releases nitric oxide, which fights inflammation in the arteries. Because inflammation is like a fire burning your arteries from the inside. As you can see, just one ingredient had quadruple power to normalize blood pressure and improve circulation throughout the entire body. And it's all because of the two most powerful flavonoids, anthocyanins and proanthocyanidins, which sounds like a bunch of scientific mumbo jumbo. But it is incredibly important because it can actually put your blood pressure back under control. I have found so many large-scale clinical trials showing how effective albaspine was in treating patients with heart failure. Study after study published in prestigious scientific journals confirmed exactly what Hans was saying. Albaspine is widely used in Germany, France, and China. But here in America, thanks to Big Pharma, it's mostly unknown. The next ingredient I looked at was something I like to call a gin cone secret. It's a rare Egyptian berry called conifer berry, because if you look closer, it's actually a cone. And this cone that looks like a berry is used to make the alcoholic drink gin, because gin was invented 500 years ago and was first used as a medicine. Hans was right. It was sold in pharmacies as a remedy for kidney and blood pressure ailments. And it's all because of conifer berry as its super ingredient. Because get this, conifer berry can give you a whopping 57% relaxation in aortic arteries. That's more than half. Imagine your arteries relaxed and passing 57% more blood. What do you think that's going to do to your blood pressure? With my heart racing, I started to wonder what other ingredients on that list could be even more powerful. The third ingredient I looked at was a leaf extract from the Elaeon tree. It's been growing in thick forests of the Anatolia region in Asia for thousands of years. Locals called it the tree of sacredness, and I could see why. First, according to numerous published studies, it can lower blood pressure, it can prevent bad cholesterol from building up in the arteries. Second, it cuts down on inflammation and can completely revitalize your kidneys because of its antioxidant superpower. And I'm not done yet. Third, it can support healthy triglyceride levels, which means that your risk of hardened arteries is greatly reduced. And you can finally stop the worry of the risk of stroke or heart disease. Another ingredient I checked was mallow flower, or what the ancient Indians used to call the Hindu goddess flower, because it was used as a heart remedy for thousands of years. Modern scientists discovered that this beautiful flower could correct kidney signaling by controlling the special hormone called renin. Mallow flower was equally as effective at controlling blood pressure as the pharmaceutical drug lisinopril, but without the harmful side effects. I looked into all of these ingredients and found that all of them worked in tandem to reactivate the kidney messaging, stabilize blood pressure, expand arteries, and improve circulation. Here they are. The Lacuna bulb, also known as the nectar of gods, because it reduces the arterial stiffness and expands the blood vessels, lowering systolic and diastolic blood pressure, which is why it was so popular for nearly 5,000 years, that it was consumed as an appetizer and added to various foods. The agathosma leaf, also known as South Africa's miracle herb, discovered by the indigenous people and still used as a blood pressure and heart remedy today. Camellia sinensis, accidentally discovered when the Chinese Emperor Shennong mistakenly drank water with a dead tea leaf boiled inside. He found the flavor very refreshing, but what the emperor didn't know was that Camellia sinensis was jam-packed with super compounds called polyphenols that can normalize both systolic and diastolic blood pressure, protect your brain from aging, normalize blood sugar, and even extend your life. Astonishing, isn't it? Every single nutrient in this list worked in different ways and was proven by modern science to fight high blood pressure and boost heart health. The only question I had was, How do I find them in all the doses required? I checked all the supplement stores like GNC. I went on Amazon and found that each of these ingredients cost $30 to $40 each. But the idea of 7 different supplements and 14 capsules a day didn't seem very appealing to me at all. Plus, getting all of these ingredients at the right doses, next to impossible. And on top of that, I only wanted organic, non-GMO, and no chemicals added. Eventually, I did find a manufacturer who would meet my strict requirements and could produce a small test batch for me to try. Look, if it was going into my body, it had to be the highest quality and the safest products that I could find. I finally found a manufacturer that could make this formula, but the price was almost half of my life savings. Hey, I didn't want to go broke. But then I thought about my daughter and how she was the light of my life. A sense of hope washed over me, knowing that I would be able to protect her and care for her every step of the way. I decided that it was all worth it, and that's how Bezopril was born. I chose the name from the Spanish word bezo, which means rainforest, because these ingredients come from the pristine forests, flush with nutrients from Mother Nature. And Bezopril is the only product that addresses the root cause of high blood pressure, disrupted kidney signaling, which is why Bezopril can finally give you the peace of mind, knowing that you're doing everything you can possibly do to protect your entire cardiovascular system. So now that I had my first batch of Bezopril, I was really excited. I couldn't wait to take my first 2 capsules. Within a couple of days, I started noticing a big difference. I would wake up in the morning without the usual crankiness, and with the extra energy to tackle the day. My frequent headaches all but disappeared, but the real difference was the numbers on the blood pressure monitor. They dropped from, get this, 175 over 110 to 114 over 75, just like that, without making any drastic changes to my diet, without going on some crazy exercise program, or needing to drop 50 pounds. Tears of joy were running down my cheeks as I hugged my wife and daughter. Finally, something worked! We were all so happy. I still stayed active and went for my regular walks every day now. And I ate healthy and I avoided alcohol and excessive salt intake. But overall, I lived a normal life. The only difference was my blood pressure is now normal. All of my fears of health complications disappeared. It was like a huge rock lifted off my shoulders. Being able to spend quality time with my daughter was huge. We played basketball, soccer, we went on bike rides, and not even once did I feel my heart pounding or did I feel lightheaded or dizzy. None of that. There was no usual tightness in my chest or difficulty breathing. I was back to my old self. And on the next checkup, sitting in the doctor's office, I felt a mix of emotions. I was worried about what the doctor was going to say about the long-term effects of my health. And when he finally walked into the room, he was very surprised that my blood pressure was now normal. His exact words were, "Keep doing what you're doing," because obviously it's working. A huge wave of relief washed over me. I couldn't help but smile all the way home. For the first time in a very long time, I felt truly hopeful and optimistic about my future, and so happy that I made such an improvement. My friends and relatives, they couldn't help but notice that I looked so different. And when they asked me, "What's going on?" I told them about my new creation. They asked me if I had any Bezopril bottles that they could try. I was reluctant at first because it was something I made for myself. But then I thought about other people, millions of Americans who are stuck with high blood pressure. And I decided why not. The ingredients in my formula were all natural and manufactured up to the highest standards. I gave a few bottles to my closest friends and relatives to try. Surprisingly, they all came back to me asking for more bottles. And that's when I realized that I had a little bit of a problem. I ran out of my test supply and I had to go back to the manufacturer and basically beg them for more. They made me wait 2 months, and when the batch finally did arrive, it was gone in just a few short weeks. That's when I knew that I had something special that almost everyone with high blood pressure wanted, because it helped them finally stabilize their BP and reduce the risk of dying from heart attacks, strokes, and kidney damage. The stories I heard were almost unbelievable. Jack P. from Montana said,
"Well, I've been using Bezopril for a few months now, and I'm just blown away by the results. My blood pressure has been consistently lower. The extra energy I have during the day is unbelievable."
Here's Greg J. from Baltimore.
When my wife told me about Bezopril, I was skeptical at first. But after taking it for 2 weeks, I can honestly say I'm feeling better than ever. My blood pressure has never been lower, and I'm feeling more energized and alert than ever before. I highly recommend it.
Dorothy B. from Houston said,
I have been taking this supplement for the past 3 months, and my blood pressure has gone down significantly. I feel so much better. More energy, and I'm sleeping much better at night. I've also noticed that my stress levels have decreased, and I feel much more relaxed. This supplement has been a lifesaver for me, and I highly recommend it to anyone.
Now, hearing these stories, I decided to order an even bigger batch this time, so that even more people had a chance to try it. Everyone who took Basopril for at least a week noticed a difference in their blood pressure readings. They were absolutely blown away by how well it worked, and continued to take Basopril for months. They would even ask for more bottles so that they can give it to their friends. They loved being able to enjoy normal blood pressure naturally. Now, by now you're probably wondering how to get your hands on Basopril today. To tell you the truth, I wish it was easy, but unfortunately, it's not always the case. The special super nutrients inside Basopril must be extracted in a super clean state-of-the-art facility, then kept fresh through a proprietary process. Every batch has to go through rigorous third-party testing to make sure that the final product is of the highest quality and bioavailability. And on top of that, Basopril is produced in small batches, and everyone who uses it keeps ordering more. As a result, it sells out so fast that I often don't have any available to the general public at a price that's affordable. But at the same time, it would break my heart seeing innocent people suffer from high blood pressure and its complications the way that I did. Look, I know how it can affect your loved ones, just how it affected my wife and daughter. I don't want to see you suffer any longer, which is why I've spoken to my suppliers and managed to convince them to produce a special batch for the viewers of this video. You see, when we first formulated Basopril, gathering up all potent ingredients from remote locations all around the world, each GMP certified and third-party tested bottle cost me around $230, which is a steal compared to prescription drugs that can cost you $600 or more per month. But Basopril is not about making a profit for me. Honestly, I was just doing it for my daughter. And now I want to help you and others like you truly get better. I want you to be able to enjoy spending time with your kids and grandkids and be in perfect health so that you can go on adventures together and try new activities. I wish something like this existed before I destroyed my health with pharmaceutical drugs. But look, the past can't be changed. And what matters now is that after receiving emails from people who can't afford Basopril, I knew that I had to find a way to make it affordable for everybody. Which is why there's no chance I would even consider asking you to pay $230 for a bottle of Basopril, or even half of that. And because you're watching this presentation, you're going to benefit from a discount from our blood pressure awareness campaign. If you act today through this website and make the life-changing decision of investing in this extraordinary formula, you can get it for only $69 a bottle. But you know what? I want to make the deal even sweeter, because I know how hard it is to live paralyzed with fear of a possible stroke or heart disease with arteries that are likely to become blocked. That's why I want to give you an even bigger discount if you order a 3 or 6 bottle package. Hans told me to take this formula for at least 90 days because that's how long it takes for kidney signaling to recover and for your blood pressure to normalize. Because what you do not want is to knock it down temporarily, only to have it rise up again later, which is why I recommend you order at least 3 bottles. This way you bulletproof your entire cardiovascular system and boost your circulation at the same time. Improved circulation means more oxygen and nutrients for the cells in your body, which is essential for maintaining a healthy heart. You should choose the 6-bottle option if you also want extra support for your brain and memory, because the longer you take Basopril, the wider your blood vessels can open up, and the more flexible your blood vessels become, and the more oxygen and nutrients get delivered to your brain. The end result? Your brain firing on all cylinders, and your memory sharper than ever. It also means fewer of those embarrassing senior moments when you forget a word mid-sentence or the name of your favorite grandchild. The 6-bottle option can also give you a boost to your bedroom performance, because improved circulation is the key to stronger and harder erections for men. It also means increased sensitivity and more pleasure for women, which is why I want you to try it out for yourself, because I know how you feel. You probably never thought you'd be one of the people dealing with high blood pressure, and you're probably feeling scared and overwhelmed, worried about how it would affect your life and what potential complications high blood pressure can cause. Basopril can put you back in control of your health. It can give you the confidence in your ability to manage your blood pressure. It can support the heart, your arteries, your kidneys, and other organs. This is why the 6-bottle package also includes free shipping and 2 free bonuses worth over $140. Bonus number 1, valued at $79. It's called Heart Smart. Little known ways to protect yourself from a heart attack, because heart attack is the #1 killer in America. And this bonus report includes the exact steps you can take in order to minimize your risk of this potentially deadly disease. I'll also tell you how a simple nutrient your doctor doesn't even know about can save you from a deadly heart attack, build bones of steel, and even help fight off prostate cancer, and how a completely unknown nutrient K works like an age-reversing miracle that can prevent the deadly hardening of the arteries. I will also include a second bonus valued at $69. It's called the Heart's Kitchen, desserts and superfoods that strengthen your heart. In it, you will discover a sour root secret to boosting your heart health. It's completely natural and so powerful, it was used to win medals at the Olympic Games. You'll also discover a miraculous water cure that will completely revitalize your cardiovascular health. And another little-known nutrient so valuable, it was used as a currency because it can make sure your heart is running smoothly. Claim these 2 bonus gifts today when you order a 6-bottle package, because a 6-month supply will give you extra support for your cardiovascular system, your kidneys, and your brain. So now you have 3 choices. You can forget everything you learned in this video, all the science, all the proof. You can continue to ignore your high blood pressure and hope that it goes away on its own. And you could take your good health for granted. Hope that the day that you suddenly feel weak and dizzy never comes. That your chest doesn't tighten and that half of your face doesn't go numb. And you'll live to be 100 years old in perfect health. The chances of that are not very high, especially if your blood pressure is shooting through the roof. You also have a second choice, which is have your doctor try drug after drug after drug and see what works for you, while he's following the gold standard of blood pressure treatment, which is more like ordering from a Chinese menu. Try a drug from column 1. If that doesn't work, add a drug from column 2. Still nothing? Just keep adding drugs at higher doses. Maybe something will work. Or you can go for the third choice, the smart one, which is to try Basopril. Its natural formula has already helped 27,238 people and continues to help more because of its quadruple approach when it comes to fighting high blood pressure. It comes in 2 easy-to-take capsules you can take every morning. It will almost immediately go to work, reactivating your kidney signaling, widening your arteries, sweeping away the plaque, and promoting healthy blood pressure, while at the same time protecting your health in the long run. Just think about how confident you're going to be knowing that you're no longer a slave to your blood pressure problems that are destroying your kidneys, that are putting an extra strain on the heart and the blood vessels, that can of course lead to heart attack, stroke, or even death. Imagine how happy you're going to feel when you're more energetic and positive, how you're going to be able to sleep better and wake up without the usual headaches or chest pains, with your brain cells completely rejuvenated, your memory recall lightning fast, and your sexual function stronger than ever. With all of these benefits, no wonder that I'm being watched by Big Pharma and all of their greedy little lawyers. I never even realized how strong and powerful they are, and how they can suppress and censor the natural remedies that work better than their prescriptions that come with the horrible side effects, which is why I'm worried that I will be tracked and shut down at any moment. If you're watching this video, that means you can take advantage of Basopril while my website is still up. You just have to hurry because the demand is high and I only have a short supply that's going to sell out soon. Producing the new batch can take months, and the prices will most definitely be higher given our current rate of inflation. If you don't see the sold out notice below, consider yourself lucky because I still have some Basopril left. So go ahead, choose a 6-month option below for your biggest savings. When you click the yellow button, you're going to be taken to our secure order page where you will enter your name and ordering information. Ordering on this website is completely safe because it uses a secure 256-bit encryption, the same one banks use. Fill out the information on the next page, and we will pack your order and ship it to you. If for any reason you're not happy with Basopril, you have an entire year to get a refund. This is how certain I am that Basopril will help you. If for any reason you're not happy, just contact me at the number provided in the package, and I will refund everything you paid, no questions asked. And you can keep the bonuses. Click below and choose the option that suits you the best and see what Basopril can do for you, just like it did for thousands of others. You're going to be amazed and very happy that you did, and your heart is going to thank you. Remember, there are no hidden charges or subscriptions. Everything is just a single one-time payment, and you're protected by my 365-day money-back guarantee. If you try out Basopril and you don't love the results, simply let me know and I will personally refund you every single penny. There's absolutely no risk. So if you're even somewhat curious, you might as well give Basopril a try. If you're ready to take control of your blood pressure and your cardiovascular health, order the 6-bottle package below now, or whatever suits you best. Do it before supplies run out. I look forward to hearing about your success. Thank you for watching. John Miller. Click the 6-month package of Basopril below for the biggest savings and free shipping. Are you still here? Look, I know that was a lot to take in, and you may have some questions about Basopril. Let me answer them now. Who is Basopril for? Basopril is for anyone who's battling high blood pressure that wants to stabilize it without the use of drugs that have dangerous side effects. It is also for anyone who wants to lower their blood pressure naturally. It doesn't matter how old you are, how much you exercise, how healthy your diet is, or how many things you've tried in the past. Basopril is a safe and scientifically supported way to get your blood pressure back under control. The next question is, how do I take Basopril? It's easy. You just take 2 capsules in the morning with water or the beverage of your choice. The ingredients will go to work fixing your kidney signaling that keeps your blood pressure high. These super nutrients will also open up your arteries wide and squelch the inflammation fire that's burning inside. It'll help your blood vessels relax and allow more blood to pass, which also means improved circulation and more oxygen-rich blood with nutrients to the brain and other organs. The longer you use Basopril, the more stable and healthier your blood pressure will be. This is why I recommend you stock up on 6 bottles of Basopril today. This way you can keep a bottle at home, in your car, at work, or anywhere else you think it would be useful. Okay, next question. Are there any harmful chemicals inside of Basopril? Absolutely not. Basopril is formulated with the purest ingredients to support healthy blood pressure. It's a safe and natural formula. Next, how does Basopril work? Basopril contains a miracle ingredient called albuspine that has a quadruple effect on blood pressure. First, it corrects kidney signaling, a newly discovered root cause of high blood pressure. Second, it tells the muscles around your arteries to relax and allow more blood to pass. Third, it tells your heart not to push so hard. And fourth, it releases nitric oxide, which fights inflammation in the arteries and relaxes the tiny muscles in your blood vessels to open them wider. It's proven by over 217 different scientific studies that were published in scientific journals, such as the American Journal of Medicine, American Family Physician, Frontiers of Pharmacology, the British Journal of General Practice, the American Journal of Cardiology, and so many more. Is there a money-back guarantee with my order of Basopril? Yes, there is. I will back your supply with a 365-day money-back guarantee, which means I personally promise healthier blood pressure, more energy, wider arteries, increased circulation with every supply of Basopril. If for any reason that is not your experience, just email me or call me, and we will promptly issue you a full refund. No questions, no hassles. I made this a full year guarantee, so you could take 365 days to try Basopril on me. Now just 2 more questions and then we're going to wrap this video. How long will it take to receive my order? We will ship your Basopril, so it will arrive at your door, usually within 3 to 5 business days. And lastly, how do I order Basopril again? Select how many bottles of Basopril you would like. I would recommend the 3 or 6 bottle option. Then click the Add to Cart button below it. After that, fill out the secure checkout form on the following page, and we will rush your supply of Basopril to your front door. When it arrives a few short days from now, you take your first 2 capsules with water and it will start working, fighting your high blood pressure, improving circulation, opening your arteries, and fighting inflammation. So go ahead, place your order now. Experience the natural power of Basopril today. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best. Click the 6-bottle package of Basopril below for the biggest savings and free shipping.